this when I'm filming a video because I'll be able to hear it, baby. You can have it after. You can have it after, I promise. Okay, it's just going to stay there, okay? No, it stays there, okay? Because everyone's just going to be able to hear. They don't want to hear. Do they, huh? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be giving some interview tips. So let's get on to the video. Recently I've been going to like a few interviews, and my mum has been giving me tips on like me going to the interviews. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to incorporate what I've been doing recently into a video for you guys, and yeah, come in with some interview tips. Obviously I'm not an interview expert. I've only been to no, shush. I've only been to like 5 interviews. Wait, hold on. I've been to an H&M interview, a Superdrug interview, a North Face interview, and a JD interview. So 4 interviews. But yeah, these are just like some of the tips that I've been given, so I thought I'd share them with you guys, so if you're going to any interviews then you can use some of these tips. The first tip is to go in with a positive attitude, because basically if you go with a positive attitude you're more likely to get the job, because if you go in there with not a very positive attitude, and they'll be able to tell, do you know what I mean, and they're not going to give you the job. Well, they might, but you know, you're more likely to get the job if you come in with a positive attitude. And I feel like today's video is going to really feature in Alice, because she's not leaving me alone. You sit here, okay? Look, should we lower it so you can see her? Wait. Alice! Alice, you sit! Where is it? Here she is. What are you doing? What do you want? Oh, lovely. Anyways. Yeah, as I was saying, I keep getting off subject because she's really distracting me. What are you doing? Oh, you want this? She wants this, but obviously the whole video. Alright then. Where are you sitting? Where are you sitting? Just get comfortable, okay? Right, you sit there, okay? You be quiet. Yeah, so basically go in with a positive attitude, because if you go in with a positive attitude. The second tip is prepare before the interview. E.g., like, get someone maybe in your family to ask you questions or scenarios, so that when they ask you a question or scenario you don't like hesitate, you kind of have a fluent conversation and explain what you do in that situation. So it's really good to like get someone in your family, a friend, whatever, to maybe like test you on a few questions and scenarios, and that'll probably really help in an interview, because it really helped me. Basically the night before the interview that I just last went to on Thursday, I got my mum to do like some questions and scenarios, and I felt more confident going in there, knowing that I had like the questions and scenarios in my head, because before I hadn't really prepared that much, but this time I really prepared, and when I went in there I felt a lot more confident because I'd prepared and I kind of knew what I was talking about, if you know what I mean. The third thing is dress smartly. Obviously, depending what the job is, you can just dress to different sort of criteria to smartness. If it's, say, a shop job, then dress like smart casual. But obviously if it's like, I don't know, like an office job, I don't really know what you dress for that. But this is kind of tips on like shop interviews, because they're the only interviews that I've really been to. But yeah, just like dress smart / casual. And yeah. The next tip is try not to act nervous. Obviously if you're acting nervous, then they're going to see that you're nervous. Obviously it's okay to be a little bit nervous, but if you fully show that you're like really nervous, then they're going to think, how's this person going to cope with like working if they're nervous? Because obviously if you're working, you've got to talk to like loads of new people, and maybe they might think you're getting nervous because it's talking to someone new, I don't know. But just try not to be nervous when you go to an interview, because I don't know, just don't feel like it really reflects back on good on you. I'm not sure, but yeah, just try not to go in there nervous. Obviously it's very nerve-wracking go to an interview because you just really want to do it and do really well, but you just got to try and like, you know, hide it. The next tip is to prepare for your journey the day before, because if you prepare for your journey the day before, you're not going to be late, are you? Because if you prepare the day before, I always like to get to the place where my interview is, like the town that my interview is, half an hour early. So I definitely, like, I prepared to get there for, say my interview's at 12:30, I'm prepared to get there for 12, so that if there is any like delays on the way there, then I'll have enough time for the delays. And also every single interview I've been to, I've walked into the room 10 minutes early, obviously into the shop. Last time I walked into the shop 10 minutes early. He was like, oh, it's really good that you've come like on time. No, early. I was like, yeah, I don't like being late. I'm the sort of person, I don't like being late. I can be on time. I like to be early, but I can be on time. I just don't like to be late, because when people are late, it really annoys me. So if I was late to somewhere, then I'd basically be being a hypocrite. The next tip is have questions to ask at the end. If you have a question to ask at the end, then it kind of looks a lot more better. Yeah, just like have a question to ask at the end. For example, like what would the hours be? When will I hear back from you? And anything that they haven't really covered in the interview. I sometimes really struggle with this though, because they normally cover all the questions. Like the last interview I went to, they covered all the questions. So I kind of, at the end, they were like, do you have any questions? And I kind of was just like thinking, I didn't really have any. But yeah, I'd kind of asked all my questions like during it, like I'd asked a question like during the interview, so at the end I didn't really have any questions left, but it always looks kind of good if you ask a question at the end. The next tip is to have eye contact, because if you have eye contact with the person who's interviewing you, it shows that you're really like listening, if you're really like listening to what they're saying. The next tip is maybe search about the history of the, say you were applying for a shop job, maybe search up the history of the shop. I have for some of the interviews I've been to. The interview I went to on Thursday, they didn't actually ask me, but it's always good to prepare, and in case they do ask you a question about the shop, like one of the questions, basically I went to a JD interview, which is the shop that I really want to work in for my first job. Some of the things I searched up, so one of the things I learned was that there's over 1,400 shops. But you know what I mean, just search up like the history of the job, because if they do ask you a question, or you can incorporate it with the conversation that you're having. The last tip I have is always have a smile on your face in an interview, so it shows that you're showing like an interest in what they're talking about, because if you're just kind of like looking around the room, it kind of shows that you don't really have an interest in what they're talking about. So if you keep eye contact, it kind of shows that you're listening and you're like actually taking in like everything they're saying. So yeah, so thank you for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe, and if you'd like to see another video like this, then comment down below, and also comment down below any videos you guys like to see. Also follow all my social medias, they're always linked down below. And yeah, so thanks for watching.